Take a look at these photos of Jennifer Lopez. She looks beautiful, every single one of them. I got these photos from my Pinterest style inspiration page, where I just go around looking for photos of different people, celebrities or unknown people, who are wearing clothes beautifully, and it inspires me to dress better. Now, I don't think I'm ever gonna look this good, but hey, a girl can dream. And as I'm looking at all these photos, I'm thinking, wow, J-Lo looks fantastic in each and every one of them. So I decided to do some reverse engineering of the photos to see when they were all taken. And can you believe this? Every single one of the photos I just showed you were taken between the years of 2018 and 2021, the A-Rod era, or what I like to call J-Lo's true golden era. Now, people might think of J-Lo's golden era as the P. Diddy years or the Bennifer 1.0 years, where she was really popping. She was extremely popular. Her music was really hitting. The movies were doing numbers. She had a popular fashion line. Her perfumes were selling out. She was doing really good during that time. But when I think in a more holistic way at what Jennifer's life looked like during different times of her career that we have known her as a public person, I think, in my opinion, based on what I've seen, that the J-Lo and A-Rod years, the J-Rod years, were really her best. There was stability in her life. She was very well respected in the industry. Her family life seemed to be thriving at this time. Look-wise, look at this woman. Her body is sitting. She looks amazing. J-Lo peaked during this time when it comes to her beauty. Do you understand what I'm saying? At 50, because she turned 50 in 2019. And when a woman has peaked physically at the age of 50 compared to anything she looked like in her 20s or 30s or 40s, you know she's doing something right. So today I want to spend some time discussing why I believe that Alex Rodriguez was the best man for J-Lo. And if the rumors are true that she is facing an impending divorce from Ben Affleck, why I believe it is time for J-Lo to circle the block and get back to her man, A-Rod. Now, I understand that A-Rod right now is in a relationship, and I don't want to in any way disrespect that situation. If he's in a relationship, obviously I don't want them to get back together. But if they just so happen to be single again in the near future, I think it will be good for them to get back together. Now, before I get started, please subscribe to my channel if you'd like to hear me talk about this topic and many other topics. Thank you, and now let's get into the video. Now, I'm going to start with the least important reason why I think they should get back together, and the reason most people would point to first, and that is their shared culture. Jennifer is Latina. Alex is also a Latino. Her family migrated to the United States from Puerto Rico, and his family migrated from the Dominican Republic. I actually was under the impression that he was born in the Dominican Republic, but he was actually born in New York, just like J-Lo. And so that is something that cannot be overlooked, but I don't think it's the main reason why they should get back together, because I simply do not subscribe to this idea that people should only marry within their race or their culture, their ethnicity. I think it helps, but I don't think it's the most important thing that can connect two people. I think the most important thing is to find a person who loves you, who respects you, and wants to be a part of your world, regardless of where they come from. At the same time, it's really nice to have somebody who has those same cultural touchstones that you might have. When I think about celebrations like Christmas, for example, Latinos have a different way of doing things. They like to really have Christmas on Christmas Eve. That's the main Christmas. Whereas here in America and other parts of the world, people focus on the 25th. Little things like that, the music, the food, the language. These are things that cannot be overlooked as being very important. But let's not forget, Jennifer was married to Mark Anthony, who shares even more cultural touchstones with her because they're both Puerto Ricans from New York, and that didn't go so well. The second reason why I believe A-Rod was the perfect man for Jennifer is the fact that he's an ex-athlete. Can you name a bunch of people who are more athletic than Jennifer Lopez? She's a fierce dancer. She takes very good care of her body. Like I said, the woman is about to turn 55 years old, and she looks better than most people in their 20s. She's very disciplined with her body. She takes it very seriously. She works out. She stays in great shape. Alex, even though he's not an athlete anymore, he has maintained that athleticism. When they were together, we saw them going into the gym all the time. They would work out together. They would do these health challenges together. I remember there was this one time they did a challenge when they didn't consume any sugar for an entire month. And in the end, they showed all the results and how they looked so good and they've never felt better and how they were going to eliminate sugar. And it inspired a lot of people, including myself, to take a look at my sugar consumption. But this discipline that they share, unfortunately, I don't think J-Lo gets to have that with Ben. Have we ever seen her and Ben going to the gym together? Have we ever really seen Ben training unless he's preparing for a role? In fact, we see him, one of his comfort things to do seems to be going to the drive-thru, going to McDonald's, going to Dunkin' Donuts. He's not exactly who you think of when you think about health. And in that sense, him and J-Lo are very mismatched. But her and A-Rod, not only did they work out together, but I feel like there was like a friendly competition between them. And that is something that athletes really need. They need that push, that competition, that how can I outdo you in this workout? And I think that that's something that they shared that J-Lo never really had with other people. Well, maybe with her backup dancer, husband or boyfriend. But to have a man that is powerful, that, has his act together and also takes excellent care of his body as much as she does, I'm pretty sure that this was something that really attracted her to him and that she unfortunately seems to be missing right now. Now, the third reason why I think that A-Rod was just the perfect man for her, and this is a really powerful one. A-Rod, aside from sports, has always been a very intense businessman. From the time he entered the major leagues, he started immediately investing his money in ventures and businesses. Some of A-Rod's investments, Alex owns a holding company which has invested in tech, wellness, and entertainment. He also has a real estate development firm, which is believed to, in 2019, hold about $700 million worth of real estate investment. He also was an early investor in Vita Coco brand, Snapchat, UFC branded fitness centers. He owned Mercedes-Benz dealerships. In 2020, he became the president of a beer company from the Dominican Republic that was later acquired by Anheuser-Busch. And I wonder if this was the connection that J-Lo had that made her go into the alcoholic beverage industry, which I have criticized because she is married to a recovering alcoholic. But I believe that it was around that time when she was with A-Rod that those kind of deals started out for her. He also invested in a streaming company, NRG Sports, that I understand is really big on Twitch, and Shaquille O'Neal is one of the co-investors in that company. We also know that him and J-Lo had formed a group that had attempted to purchase the New York Mets. They lost that bid. But today, I believe he is one of the co-owners of the Minnesota Timberwolves, if I'm not mistaken. So this man, he's no small potato. A-Rod is not just some guy who's just kind of dabbling in things. He seems to be very well versed in successful investments. And he was the rare exception. He didn't need that push from J-Lo to become what he is today. And for a woman, that has to be, for a successful woman like J-Lo, that has to be very enticing. I didn't have to build him into the man he is. He already came to me turnkey, so to speak. And that is something that I can just imagine just capture Jennifer, because that is her. From the moment she started making money, she immediately started investing this money in her clothing line, her perfume lines. She had a restaurant at one point. She was always looking for ways to diversify her money. J-Lo has always been inspired by people who are more than just their artistic expression. And Ben Affleck doesn't seem to be the type of person who has ever really been interested in doing more than his art. Recently, he started appearing in these Dunkin' Donut commercials, And I would not be surprised if it was J-Lo who said to him, listen, you already give them free advertising by always being photographed drinking their coffee. So why don't you just monetize that advertising that you have been giving them for free? I'm sure that they paid him a lot of money. But J-Lo is always looking for ways to expand her empire. And the fact that she didn't have to do that with Alex because Alex was already a very successful businessman when they met, I think that that's something that she thought, wow, I don't have to come in and make this man, upgrade this man. He's already on top of things. With all of these investments together, I was trying to find his net worth, and I found somewhere that he is believed to be worth about $350 million. But I don't know. With those real estate investment holdings alone and all the other investments that he has, I believe that he is inching closer to the $1 billion level. Jennifer Lopez being a very successful woman, she's believed to be worth about $400 million. To be with a man that is so powerful and who is worth all this money, who's not looking to her to live a better life like she may have had to deal with some of her ex-husbands or boyfriends, that has to be something that is very appealing to her. And that brings me to the next point. A-Rod loves to live the good life. A-Rod is not afraid to show off his success. I've seen photo shoots that he has done where he's posing with his things, with his toys. To some people that might be a turn off. But to somebody like J-Lo, who lives for the cameras, who lives to show off that she is Jenny from the block, who used to have a little, now she has a lot. This is something that she loves to do. And it is one of the points of contention that seems to be the problem between her and Ben. Ben is not as showy as she is. And I'm hearing a lot of reports from people saying that he actually is a lot showier than he'd like to let people know, that he actually enjoys the attention he gets from J-Lo. But I don't know. He may like some aspects of it, but the whole showing off of his things, that just doesn't seem to be something that is characteristic of him. All the years that he was married to his ex-wife, Jennifer Garner, I'm sure they were living very comfortable lives. Even the fact that he left the $60 million home that him and J-Lo bought a few months ago, that it is believed that he left because he never felt comfortable, that the house is too ostentatious. Well, he's now living in a house that costs $100,000 a month to rent. And I've seen photos of the house. That is a pretty big house. But one thing you're not going to be seeing is Ben showing off this good life. Like I said, when he and Jennifer Garner were married, they, I'm sure, were living a very luxurious life, but they weren't showing it off. They were not opening the doors of their home to magazines, and they weren't showing it off in promotion like J-Lo does. She just bought this mansion with Ben, and immediately she started showing it off in little ads for her liquor company. That house is a showcase house. That is the kind of house that you don't just live in. This is the kind of house that you showcase to the public to say, I have arrived. Here I am. Look at my success. And the house has J-Lo written all over her. And the fact that Ben couldn't wait to get out of there just shows how different they are. Now, A-Rod, on the other hand, A-Rod would have loved to live in the house. I imagine they would have already done a spread for Vogue or Architectural Digest showing themselves in their beautiful home, letting everybody know how it is. Their celebrations would have been massive. Thanksgiving, Christmas. Can you imagine? That was the vision J-Lo had when she bought that house. That's what she was hoping to do in that house. Having huge parties and celebrations and opening the doors to crowds of people. I love that house. I think the house is gorgeous. I would love that house. I would love to throw parties in that house. But it really wasn't Ben's speed. But A-Rod, on the other hand, he would have loved it. They would have brought the whole family there, especially now that it's graduation season. That is where all the parties would have been held, at that mansion. And that brings me to, I think, one of the biggest reasons that I believe A-Rod and J-Lo were the perfect couple. They both love the spotlight. Ben hates the spotlight when he doesn't need it. When it's time to promote movies, when it's time to promote his work, yeah, sure. like any person who chooses this kind of a career, yes, he needs the spotlight and he loves it as a utilitarian thing. The problem with J-Lo is that for J-Lo, it is more than just business. This is personal. She needs to always show the world that she is worthy of love and admiration and respect by showing off herself as much as possible, showing off her things, showing off her relationship, showing off her special family dynamic. It is all part of this narrative that she wants the world to have of her, that she is worthy, that she's special, that she's better than us. Yes. And that is something that I think A-Rod was very comfortable doing. He had no problems. I said this in one of my last videos when I was talking about J-Lo. He had no problems with her documenting their lives, and in her YouTube channel they were always showing off. They were doing kind of like a reality show, documentary style thing about her tour that she embarked on when her and A-Rod were together. She turned 50 in 2019, and she went on a tour just to celebrate the fact that she was turning 50, and it was kind of like a retrospective of her career. And A-Rod was eating it up. He was in the midst of it. He didn't miss a show. He was there with her. He was holding up the camera, wanting to make sure he gets her. He was proud of her and how much the public loved her. He soaked it up. And as an athlete who is used to the adoration and the adulation of the public, he understands where she was coming from. Now, you might think two people who love the spotlight equally, that's going to be a problem. There's going to be a clash. They're going to be competing against each other. But I didn't see that. And there was a moment when she was on tour that A-Rod turned, he also had a birthday. I think they have birthdays very close to each other. I think they're both Leos. But he also had a birthday coming up around the same time that she was turning 50. And since she was on tour, she decided to surprise him by having a cake and having the audience in one of the shows sing happy birthday to him.
Usually right here, we say happy birthday, J-Lo. But tonight, Jennifer wants everybody to say happy birthday, A-Rod.
A-Rod.
And let's see if they can change that from happy birthday, Alex, on the screens to happy birthday, A-Rod. Yeah?
Happy birthday, Alex, or happy birthday, A-Rod? Jennifer said, happy birthday, A-Rod. And when I first saw this, I thought, J-Lo is such a show-off. I mean, she can't even be personal for a moment. Everything has to be stage names and fame and show business. Why can't she just say happy birthday, Alex? That's his name. That's what she calls him. She calls him Alex, baby, papi, whatever it is she calls him. Why does she have to say happy birthday, A-Rod? But she understood from one Leo to another, from one person who loves the spotlight to another. She understood how important his stage name was to him, to the lore of A-Rod, to his glory years as an athlete. And she understood that, yeah, she could put happy birthday, Alex, happy birthday, baby, but this was his moment. It wasn't about what she calls him. It was about how the public sees him and how special that time was when he would walk out into the field and the whole stadium would chant, A-Rod, A-Rod, because he was larger than life when he was an athlete. And I can imagine that as an ex-athlete, he misses that. As all ex-athletes tend to do. I was watching the Beckham documentary on Netflix, and I have to say, I really enjoyed that documentary. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. It was talking about the life and career of David Beckham. Now, I never really follow European football. I was born and raised in Latin America, and every 4 years when the World Cup comes around, we were all cheering for Brazil. That's what I have been doing since I was a little girl. But I'm not really into sports that much. And to be honest, I got to know David Beckham as Posh Spice's husband. That's how I met him. I didn't know anything about his football career. But it was so impressive to watch this documentary where he was talking about how he has been in sports since he was a toddler. His dad put a football in front of him and started training him how to kick. And he started playing in leagues from he was a little boy. and he got into the big leagues from he was a very young man. He didn't want to do anything with his life but that. That was his entire life. From the time he was a little boy until his retirement, that is all he knew. And there was a scene in the documentary that broke my heart when he was playing his last game. He had already announced that he was retiring, and it was his last game. And he was watching as the countdown was coming down, and he knew that it was going to be the last time that he was going to play this sport that he loved so much. And as the countdown was happening and the clock was ticking down, he started crying. He couldn't even wait until the game was over. He was just weeping as he was coming to the realization, when the referee blows the whistle, that's going to be it. Everything I've ever done is going to be over. And when I saw him tearing up on the field, knowing that that was the end, it just broke me. And I understood a little bit better what is the mind of an athlete, how this is their everything. And athletes are different from other people who do other professions. If you have a profession, a career that you love, you can probably do it until you're 85. And then you're like, okay, I'm tired. I can stop. I can retire now. But athletes can't do that. Their bodies break down. And by the time they're in their 30s, it's time to retire. And so it's a very difficult thing for you to dedicate your entire life from the time you're very young to something, and then for it to be gone at a young age. And you have the rest of your life kind of missing that feeling of being a gladiator running through the Coliseum and the public is chanting your name. And I can imagine that for A-Rod, who also started his career pretty young. He started playing when he was in high school. He really dedicated himself to sports. And to have to retire at a young age and then look back at those glory years, that must be really difficult. And when J-Lo said, let's put happy birthday A-Rod, she was giving a nod to him. Here you go, baby. You get to be A-Rod one more time. For one more night, we get to celebrate you as the great athlete that you were. And even the cake was Yankee themed. And, you know, I was really touched after thinking about it, after really thinking about what she did in that moment, that it wasn't about the spotlight. It was about him and her love for him and knowing how much those years of him being A-Rod meant to him. I thought to myself, that's real love. And it really painted a picture of how close these two people were. I remember watching those videos that she had on her YouTube, and you can still watch them, they're still on her YouTube channel, how he was so proud of her, how he just uplifted her every time she would go on stage. There was one night that she was on stage, and I think she didn't feel like she did very well, and I think she injured herself, and she came down the stage that night and she was crying, and she said, oh, I feel so terrible. And the way he just spoke life into her, and he said, baby, this was the best show you've had so far.
I hit myself with the microphone where it was both.
Yeah. It was the best. By the way, it was the best show I've seen so far. No, I'm not. It was Saturday night in Vegas, and you guys killed it. And you showed why you're a champion, baby. I just went down, and you still came back up, and had the best show so far. I'm so proud of everyone. That was amazing. And by the way, every time I see the show, it keeps getting better and better and better. You guys are amazing. It was insane. If I paid $5,000, I got every cent worth of whatever I paid. It was by far the best show.
I just think, why couldn't they have made it work? I know why. A-Rod just has a reputation of just not being able to be faithful to his women. I would hope that as he grows and matures and decides, you know what, I'm getting older, my daughters are grown, I'm really looking for stability in my life. No more of the playboy guy that's always with the roaming eye. It is time for me to relax. A-Rod is, I believe, 48. I didn't know he was younger than me, but he's 48. You know, it's time to hang it up, dude. Time to stabilize your life. And if he can find it in his heart to just be a one-woman man, I would love to see them circle the block and try this one more time. Because watching those videos seeing how happy they looked. And this brings me to the last point, the family dynamic. Alex and Jlo's children were more or less the same age. And to watch those kids blend into a really, truly close family. I've said it before, children are off limits, so I don't want to do too much commenting on the children per se. But I'm just going to say that during those years, Jlo's twins looked the happiest I've ever seen. Again, I don't live with these people. I don't know what was going on behind closed doors. But children can't really fake as well as we as adults can. And every time I would see these children in public, when they were together with A-Rod and his daughters, it just seemed like such a cohesive, happy family. And there were little videos where they would put on little dancing shows for their parents. And it just seemed like such a lovely, stable, comfortable family dynamic. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Now, like I've said before, I don't know these people. What I do in this channel is give my opinion based on publicly available information, photos that I see, videos. I like to do analysis of these things. And it is possible that I don't know what was really going on, if the relationship was really toxic behind the scenes. And I have named all the things in which Jennifer and Alex were similar. It is very possible that for Jlo, he was too similar to her. And she likes the fact that she's very different from Ben. And that's why she prefers that relationship. But the problem with that is, if you're going to get into a relationship with somebody who's very different from you, and you're not willing to compromise, you're not willing to adjust to their likes, their preferences, the things that they're comfortable with, if you want to be with somebody who's completely different from you, but you want to continue to be exactly who you are without any compromise, that's going to be a problem. If you want to continue to be who you are without changing much about you because you like how you are, choose a partner that is either one, very similar to you, or two, different from you, but he doesn't mind you being exactly who you are. It doesn't affect him in a negative way. That appears to not be the case with Jen and Ben. They seem to be clashing. He's not comfortable with the spotlight. She needs the spotlight. He doesn't want to share his private information. Jlo wants to blast everything that's happening inside her home with the world. He's not comfortable with the showiness and the over-the-top luxury. Jlo can't accept anything less. And another thing that I discovered when I was doing research for this video, it's funny because Jlo is being hated on because of all her diva demands. Well, it seems like while Alex was playing for the Yankees, his teammates used to make fun of him and they kind of give him a hard time because he was also kind of like a demanding diva at the clubhouse. He was asking for, I don't know, they didn't name what the things were, but they were saying that he was kind of a demanding diva and he demanded this and demanded that. And I'm saying, how much more perfect can those two people be together? They just love the same things. And like I said before, maybe too much of a same thing is not the best. But if you're going to go after somebody who's different from you, if you want the whole opposites attract dynamic thing to go on, you have to learn to compromise. Jennifer should have learned to scale things down, to not invite the public into their relationship once again, to keep things more humble, the way Ben likes. And then Ben could have given in and giving her that over-the-top luxury, but behind closed doors. There could have been a way for them to compromise. And it seems like it just didn't work out. I make these videos to not just gossip, but to kind of give my little words of advice to people out there who might be looking for advice from a sage old lady who has lived life and seen life. And I just want to give this advice. It is never my intention to bring anybody down. And I'm going to ask you guys in the comments section to please be kind. I don't want you to go in there and call Jlo all kinds of nasty names, J-Ho and J-Lo, L-O-W. Please don't do that, because I don't want this space to be a breeding ground for disparaging somebody who right now is going through quite a hard time. Jennifer might have her faults, and there are a lot of reports that she doesn't seem to be a very nice person. But kicking somebody when they're down, even when they're a terrible person, is not the best thing. And I don't want this space to become a toxic wasteland of name calling and insults. So, please be nice in the comments. So yeah, let me know what you think. You don't have to like Jennifer. You don't have to like Ben or A-Rod. You can be critical of them. And I have been critical of all these individuals. But let's do it in a way that is not demeaning. I would love to hear your opinion on this. Do you agree with what I had to say? Are there other aspects that you think made them similar? Or are there any reasons why you think they should not get back together? Thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe to my channel. I would love to see you come and join our small but growing family. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this. Please share this video if you think that it is something that some of your friends might enjoy. While you're here, please peruse my other videos and enjoy watching them. And once again, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully, I will see you in the next one.